Hiya! VideoGaming Father is here with commented video review of retro side-scrolling shooter from post-apocalyptic future called Blazing Chrome. Is it at least as half as good as Legends of the genre Contra or Metal Slug that it takes the inspiration from? Is there any dark and atmospheric science fiction story in the game? Is it just run and gun, or are there any innovative ideas enhancing the gameplay? Does it have reasonable difficulty, or is it just for hardcore gamers? Does it have precise controls, or will you be struggling with it more than with the enemies themselves? If you keep watching, I will give you substantial information to decide whether it is the right game for you or not. So what is the story about? In Blazing Chrome, machines rule the world, and the few humans left are on the edge of total extermination. Humans are expendable after an AI-controlled robot army takes over the world. They survive in hiding while their hunters rule the surface. When a small rebel group gets an intel about the big AI's power plant, the machines strike their camp before they can organize an attack. A small group of rebels escape and go on a suicide mission to destroy this power plant. There are two main heroes in the game, human resistant soldier Mavra and a deadly robot that was reprogrammed to serve the human called Doyle. Haven't I seen a similar story somewhere else before? Right, in one of the most famous science fiction movies, Terminator. So it has an attractive background, and the only shame is that there is not enough space for story. Let's have a look if the gameplay is at least as attractive as the game plot. Once you start the game, you choose your character between the Mavra and Doyle, and after a very brief tutorial showing you the basic movements and actions, you are thrown right into the game. Your character finds himself in a heavily post-apocalyptic environment with damaged platforms in the foreground and ruins of the city in the background with dark red sky. The post-apocalyptic atmosphere breathes on you from the very beginning. Blazing Chrome is pure run and gun action, so the enemies start to go after you from the very beginning. Your task is simple, to eliminate them and get to the end of level to proceed to the next one. Besides shooting, you will be jumping between platforms either horizontally or vertically, driving a mech or hovercraft motorcycle, and collecting crates with equipment giving you better weapons, protective or supportive bots, or additional lives. Sounds like a good old frenetic action so far, doesn't it? So who is standing against you, and what kind of weapons will you be using to eliminate them? You are supposed to fight the robots who rule the post-apocalyptic future, so it would not be a big surprise if I say that you will be fighting metal enemies in various forms. You will find their fast humanoid with big claws attacking you directly, then shooting humanoids using simple blasters or automatic weapons with higher fire rate, then various mechanical bugs either running or flying, static Terminator-like heads shooting at you, and there are various mini-bosses and bosses that you will be confronted with quite often. For example, the big hovercraft or giant robot, at least 10 times bigger than you, using various melee and range attacks against you. The variability and originality of enemies is about average. As for the weapons, there are only 4 weapons that you can use. Except the basic machine gun that you have from the start, the other 3 weapons are only available as power-ups. There is very useful energy whip that can eliminate most of the enemies pretty quickly, grenade launcher which is strong but slow and allows you to remotely detonate the bombs you shoot, and the last one is the particle beam, requiring that you press the fire button for each shoot you want to fire. This is not very practical since the fast-paced action and these controls don't agree very well. The real power of particle beam shows if you hold down the fire button for a few seconds, charging up the weapon. When the shot is released, you will unleash a beam of energy that will deal a lot of damage. If only you find enough time to do it. To be honest, most of the time I was using either the basic weapons or the energy whip, as you can hardly afford to wait for something to charge or press the fire button every time you want to shoot. There are other passive weapons, the bots. Attacking one helping you with shooting the enemies, defensive one that will provide a strong shield to your character and is destroyed only after taking several hits, and the last one is speed bot that improves your agility and enables you to double jump. Those bots would enhance the gameplay quite well if only they could last longer. But we will get to this a little bit later yet. From time to time you can also use the mech with high fire rate and strong armor, or you ride a hover motorcycle fighting against the enemies that are using them as well. It makes the fast-paced game even faster. Bots and mechanized weapons balance the small number of classic weapons, so thanks for that. Now let's take a look at the crucial elements of this game, the difficulty and controls. And here we come to the problematic parts of the game. The difficulty of the game is almost insane, I would say. I was expecting a tough game. After all, it should be a tribute to the games like Contra or Metal Slug, so I choose to play on easy difficulty this time. However, the main difference between difficulties is the number of lives, so the number of enemies and speed of the game is still the same. The first problem is that each hit causes you fall, and loss of one life of course, so you are not able to fight for some time. If you are lucky and in the middle of frenetic action, which are almost every time, you can get several hits without the possibility to properly react. Along with the fact that every time you get hit you lose all collected weapons and power-ups, it makes the irritation grow. And those are not worst things about the difficulty. The enemies are going after you not only from the right side but also from the left side, meaning behind your back, and the controls do not have too much to handle them, as sometimes when you move your analog stick, yes, I was playing on Xbox controller, to the left, your hero collector starts shooting behind his back, but sometimes not, and before you find it out, at least one life is lost. The worst thing is that there is no proper system of checkpoints, so if you die, you need to start the level from the beginning and repeat the same long scenes again and again. This was maybe fun on arcade machines from the 80s or 90s, but nowadays, it is just irritating. The second level you start on hover motorbike, which would be a refreshing idea if only the speed of the game wasn't even higher, which means a lot of dying and repeating, and honestly, I lost the patience there as the game was not enjoyable for me anymore. Blazing Chrome has really good audio visuals. The game has nice pixel art graphics and the style of consoles from 16-bit era, only smoother and in high resolution. Color palette consists mainly of dark colors and nicely expresses the post-apocalyptic atmosphere of the game. The dynamic 16-bit soundtrack and also the sounds nicely fits the game and will for sure cause the nostalgic feelings in many players. Unlike the difficulty, this has been done very well. So, how was it for me with Blazing Chrome? Was it love or hate? In the beginning I was really enjoying the game thanks to the retro post-apocalyptic atmosphere, two characters that you can choose from, even though the gameplay is the same for both of them, frenetic action with variable robot enemies, system of support bots, use of vehicles and now nice audio-visual side. However, as the time went by I started to enjoy the game less and less. The punishing gameplay based on losing everything every time you get hit, non-existent system of checkpoints making you repeat the same long sequences again and again, and non-responsive controls as you would need in such frenetic action made the game painful for me rather than enjoyable. Along with a low variety of weapons, frequent and irritating boss battles, and no difference between the two main characters, the negative impressions unfortunately prevail. It's a shame, especially because the game has local co-op, so with more reasonable difficulty it would be suitable for family play. Blazing Chrome costs €17 on Steam, which is quite a lot, so I can only recommend it for hardcore gamers when it's discounted by at least 50%. There are for sure hardcore players that might enjoy this game, but it's not suitable for me, and I think for most of the fellow gaming fathers as well. I'm therefore giving Blazing Chrome thumbs down and VideoGaming Father's index 5 out of 10. Not recommended. Thank you for watching my video review. If you have liked it, please do not forget about thumb up and subscribing to my VideoGaming Father's channel for further video reviews. See ya!